This is a question from Richard Chaffer, a very difficult question. Dear Andrew, have you noticed any commonalities or common ground in all the works of art you like? In other words, what are the shared characteristics present in all your favourite works throughout history? That really is a hard question, Richard. I have a very broad range of things that I find that really move me. And I've been thinking about this. I suppose it's not, because they're so different, the things that I like. Turner watercolours, Monet's water lily paintings, the history paintings of Jacques-Louis David, pictures by Giovanni Bellini or by Titian or by Caravaggio or by Degas. And I think if I were going to try and pick out some of the things that I think they all share in common, it's going to sound terribly vacuous, but I think it's to do with humanity, a deep sense of humanity, or the sense that somehow the artist is getting to the bottom of something that lies at the core of our common human nature. So in a way, I suppose it's the artist who's pointing out that which is common, or evoking that which is common, whether it's Degas asking us to sympathise with the plight of a Parisian ballerina, or Manet asking us to sympathise with the plight of a Parisian barmaid or prostitute, or whether it's Caravaggio asking us to really, really understand what it means to be desperate and to be saved. So I think it's sounding terribly vague, but it's to do with some sense of common humanity. I mean, I was very, very moved by my experience of going into the caves in Altamira in Spain and seeing some of the very earliest human paintings. And I think which again, they come from a place that is our common place, and that's what's very moving about them. And I suppose I feel that all of the art that I respond to most, in some ways, reminds us of everything that we've got in common. And goodness knows that that's precious when people seem to manage to find so many reasons for division and enmity between themselves. And I think, in a sense, what lies at the heart of all the art that I love is love in whatever form it might be expressed. A sense of spirituality, which I might find in a Japanese sword. I might find it in a Stone Age flint knife that's been carved with such delicacy and care that it's as if the artist is trying to express, 20,000 years ago, an artist was trying to express the idea of an ideal. And that sense of the spirit, the sense that there's something more than just following your material urges and needs, that's also, I think, very important, and it's one of the things that art can bring us to. And lastly, I'd say that all of the works of art that I love strike me as having been created in a state of absolute truth. I don't like works of art where I feel I know what the artist's trying to tell me, and they've decided before they made the work that that's what they were going to tell me, and now they've told me. I think the really extraordinary works of art do it in ways that I'm sure would have surprised the artists themselves. And they do it because the artists were so immersed in the truth of what they were doing. They were immersed in the truth of making a work of art, and they weren't thinking about whether people would admire them, whether they would succeed in making a good work of art. Something that plagues so much contemporary art is that it's out to impress before it's out to capture or to get a truth. And lots of contemporary art also, I'm sure, does manage that act of truth capturing. But those would be the things that I think I would isolate. As I say, very, very good question, and I'm sure a very imperfect answer, but I've been talking about humanity, and isn't imperfection one of our principal traits?